Right, so we are on the main page of Wolfpack Connect, the home page, and yes, so this is kind of an overview here, right? So, oops, I'm gonna go out a little bit. I don't want to go in too much. You can definitely see what I'm doing with Selena Gomez here in a second, but so these are the kind of the events that we're gonna go over today. So we're going to kind of look at a corn maze event that Pack has put on for the last couple of years, something that I actually talked about last year a little bit. I'm gonna kind of show some of those options on how they were created, and kind of give some specifics, right, to that, which is the big thing with this one, which was interesting, was there were different registration options for how you could pick up the tickets, right? And in this instance, there were two dates of when you could pick up tickets, and so you had to select one of those dates when you were doing filling out the form to set up when you're registering, right? Another thing is the ticket amount was capped at 100, I believe, or something like that. But there was an amount where you couldn't go past that, and then after that it would no longer allow it to work, right? They would say that it's all sold out, right? And on top of that, each student when they were checking out, they could only at most get two tickets, right? So most of the time when I see events being created like this, I only see there being an unlimited number, and there was unlimited number of tickets and an unlimited number of ticket quantity that you can get. And so it was nice to see that that feature is being utilized a little bit more. So we're gonna go over that. We're gonna look at kind of like what a just a weekly club meeting would setup would look like. As clubs have these meetings on a regular basis, right? To some extent, what it would look like to set that up. And then an event with a speaker, right? And so I kind of try to look at some different options here of events that have utilized that. I think that maybe some could do things with open houses, right? If they have got outside external partners that could be sharing and coming to the event for the open house, that would be one option. And then you have mixtures. Like again, this would be more of an academic club based type of thing, but those mixtures would you would have somebody from the industry coming in, right? Or a guest speaker to an event, right? And you know, that's where the Selena Gomez is. I'm gonna set up a thing with for Selena Gomez, and that's why I needed just to have some of that information, so that I could put that in the bio. Then we're gonna look at setting up an event with a co-host, right? So if you have another club that you work with, or another in general a organization, right? Like you can set that up, and I've gone over that in the first part, but we're going to go over it in more detail. And then something a little bit way bigger, right? So like a conference style of event with one main event, and then you're going to have a bunch of the smaller events underneath that, right? So that's kind of where the parent and child event kind of starts to play in, right? So like a main event, and then you've got your breakouts to it, right? Or smaller events that a student can select from. So, all right, so let's just get started here and go. I'm going to make sure that window's out, and I can close out this thing, go Gomez thing. So we are going to go into we're actually just going to go to the test mini edition this time. And again, we're just going to look at some of these basics quick about what I'm talking about. So create or go to the events tile, the color tile, but one of the two, right? Create again, unless if you ever template created, you're only going to have the main platform wide one. And then again, I said the basics here. Always look for the asterisks. The asterisks are going to be your main thing. You got to fill those up, but everything else, boom, you can kind of get away with, right? So, and we got one, two, all the way down. What, when, where, why, and registration options, etc. Right? So, yeah, these are, and then how you categorize who the event coordinator or team is going to be, right? Again, when is that going to happen? And that again, that's when I introduce the 10-14-10 rule about making sure that the events if you're going to have an ongoing event in the event calendar, you have to have it only for 10 consecutive days. That would be visible to everyone. And then have 14 days where you do not have it on the calendar, visible to everyone. And then you can go and do 10 consecutive days again, right? So, and if you want to do it more than that, you just set it to your group members only, so that's not showing to everyone, right? So, there was that. We're again with the where, right? And I made it very clear about if it's not going to be on campus to make sure that you list. You basically what you put in here is what the name of the place is, right? So, it's a fun zone or whatever. Right, that's the name of the place, right? But you put that down, but then you have to put down the actual address, or else it's going to show 1701 Wright Street, which is the Truex campus. So something to consider. Who can see it, right? If you want the map to display, if this isn't a hybrid event, right, or a virtual event only, that's with the conference, the video conferencing information or video link is. The forward and flyer, how to promote and market your event. And I talked about this as being that event image, right? That's going to show up when we're looking at it here, right? That's what that size would be. And then this is just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So when you were to click on one of these, it's actually showing the full like page, right? So and then depending on if you do fill out have both of these uploaded with an image or just one, like I only have one in this instance, make sure that you're putting that alt text in there to help with the accessibility updates that we're currently doing for the college to be accessible and meet the standard by April 2026. So that, and then some more details, right? If it's going to have food provided, if there's a specific dress code. So, depending on the type of event, you may want that to put down a dress code, right? Again, who is allowed to register, who can see it, and if it's going to be on the event flyer. And again, depending on how you have the event set up, if it is only a group for group members, you may only want for group members only, and then group members only. Again, I mentioned in the last one you can use these to play off of each other, so that's a nice thing that you can do so that it only works if you're allowed to make it. It only works to register if you're allowed to see it. If you're allowed to see it because you're a group member, so again, playing around with if you really wanted to figure out the specifics of how to do that. And then here's the registration options. And then we have a lot of things. When are we open to? What's the attendance limit globally, right? Is what we're looking for on that. The If you're not going to be attending, if you RSVP, but now you're unable to, you can send a follow up that hey, I'm not going. A reminder that they would get in the form of an email at how many days that you decide later. I think it might even have hours. Yeah, you can even do hours the day of the event. You can also preview that right there. And then a personalized, thank you or confirmation. If you actually, when you do RSVP or register to this event, it'll send you a thing like, hey, it was, successful. Thank you for registering. Here's the information you need to know, right? Display the list of attendees, right? So this is kind of like a feed type of style, like, kind of gets the hype going and it really helps to promote the event. Help. This is more again related to marketing type. For your ticket itself, you could have a little thing. And again, it's gonna be small, 180 uh, pixels high and 980 pixels wide, right? So, and then a feedback request. If after you decide you want to get feedback, you can send out one of your forms that you've made, right? They only work if you have forms created ahead of time. But then, yeah, you could do that, and you could send it out after, right, as the event ends, or 24 hours after. It really depends. Then we just go to some of these other things, right? We shouldn't really be messing with attendance tracking. The add more questions to slots is what we're going to look at in a second. The speakers is what we're also going to look at in a second. Sponsors, we weren't playing them, we were looking at, but we could. The redirect, um, if it's something that maybe you wanted to get them prepared for some of the following up following information after they've registered. And there's a link to do that. You could maybe send that, put that down in there, and then that would redirect them after as soon as they're done registering for the event. Like, yeah, hey, don't. And one of the things we're going to be doing is booking a hotel at this place, and then you register, and then it sends you maybe to the hotel's website. Is well, that could be an example, right? Um, and so then parent event again, we're gonna set that up. Look at that here in a second. Austin, we do not touch. Waiver, we don't really usually touch, but we do have there was an option for that that we're gonna see in the one that Pack made, which is pretty cool. Co-host, we're gonna see. So co-host is one, speakers is one. Those are both uh incentive program hints that might help you check off some incentive points for the club incentive program, and then uh, service opportunities. We're not really using it for that the way that this is set up, so we kind of bypass it. Virtual fair, we don't have that enabled. Event template, again, if you said this is something I'm going to have every year or something I'm going to have these type of events for my group, my club, right? You can make it for the group, right? And I think I am only seeing this one because I'm an admin myself. Um, and then we don't use it for that, right? And then you also obviously have your drafts right there, and then you can go ahead and create, right? So, and this nice right side panel navigation allows you to quickly access, different very fast, right? So let's take a look and let's actually see. I'm going to go into admin right now, and I'm going to try to um, go into events and typing corn maze, maybe to by what group? Mhm. And they may not have it listed yet. But that's okay. We can be able to get that here. And download events, drafts. So we are going to, here we go. Oh, I guess it was, that's what it was called. So we're gonna copy this, and I think we can move this over. Nope, have that. Hmm. Yep. Well, I'm going to, I thought there was an option to do that. I'm gonna try one more thing here quick, and then I'm just gonna go with it and not play around here. Let's do, okay, map. I'm not going to um play. Well, we could do maybe the past one if they should show up. Yeah, here we go. This is the past one, right? So we could look at this one. I swear there was an option though to copy it over. Oh, yeah, there we go. So we're gonna duplicate this over into the test group club edition. Hit submit. You obviously won't be able to do this, but for the sake of this, let's play around. So this is obviously set for last year, but this is an already put together event, right? So we're going to kind of like inspect this a little bit here, right? So I hit edit event. So here it is, like right. So we'll just put down test club. So information's right in here. So I'm going to also take this out and put down copy oop, test, and make that very friendly. But so the difference is here for this one, I would probably change this to more of a social activity, right? So because it's just more laid back. I would also change, put things down off campus, right? For the event tags to identify that it is off campus. And I would, yeah, I would probably put nothing else down, honestly, here. Because I do not really have anything that else that really needs to be specifically said to this. Here's a good example. If you have a main email address or main I actually I'm just gonna do it like this called Selena College. You I'm set up as the host right as one of the host coordinators. This is there was going to stuff to show a redirect. So if I just did test group club mini edition, let's do mini, and now it's going to say it's coming that the who it's coming from is this test group club, and that's how they're you can contact them. I could put down people like Zena, uh, and then hey Barbara, and then I could then so I've
Good
got at
job.
least one person down, right? So and then I could go ahead and um I'm gonna. Oh, he distracted. I got distracted. And Max put down your name, Barbara. I could then put down admin, and then so I've got there's my group right now. So as you kind of as we're seeing that's building right there. And now again, I'm all leaving all this alone. So now obviously I'm gonna say let's do it for today. Um, actually, let's do it for tomorrow, right? So. And the way that this is set up, and I'm just gonna name this. I think this is the best way to name this, so people don't think that this is an actual real thing, because it will unfortunately go on the event calendar in a second. Is I'm just going to kind of alter it a little bit. So I'm just going to make it chill out a little bit. But the way that the event was originally set up was you have until, since it's off campus, you have 9 a.m. is when you have until, to start to show up, all the way until 10 p.m. Anytime in that range, show up and do the corn maze, right? That is your choice when you want to do the show up. And so I think and that's a good accurate reflection of what that is showing right now, right? So and then here we go. Here's um I am going to do Schuster's corn maze and yeah, because I can't spell. So yeah, I guess that was right. So but I am going to go and do so again. Like I had said just a second ago, we put down the name, what the place is, if there was an actual name to it, and then the address. We have to make sure we are detailing putting the address down. So right now, if, how it was listed, just a second ago, it was going to say that it was still going to be at Goodman South Campus, right? And obviously, that is not accurately even correct, right? So. Um, we're gonna make sure that there we go, and then we're gonna go to let's do it like choose from, copy, and here we go. Right, so choose from. And if you wanted to put down um a website, right, that would actually show up right below in the location information as well, which is pretty cool. Um, you could display the map. I guess let's display the map, yeah. And we're gonna say everyone here. We're gonna display this to everyone. There's nothing wrong with that. So we're not even gonna do that. So and we're gonna leave that alone. So going down to the that marketing, like I was saying, um, again, we are going to let's see here if I have maybe something that is a little bit more low key and not as intense. If we have anything, maybe I can get lucky. Uh, no. Do this, something like this. Huh. All right, let's see if I'm just gonna pick the eye. Make it simple. Alt text. Picture of eyeball. Um, so picture of eyeball. I'm going to actually remove this. Um, but yeah, I would put that alt text in there as well, like I said. I don't really need to label that this is and it needs a dress code, so I'm going to remove that. Access and display options. Again, everyone, we can set that to everyone um, who can see the event. Everyone, it's going to display on the upcoming event slider. And so then here's these registration options. Um, the way that they did it last year was different though. Um, Instead of having the information right here, oh, I think I know what they did. So this year there isn't going to be two options like there was. Like if you're going to be doing the Friday option, you selected the Friday option. If you were going to doing the Monday option, yeah, I think that's how they did it. But there, I'm gonna do it the way that I know that it's going to be done, right? So this year, so we'll just keep this very easy, and we're gonna do this. So again, this think of this as the name of the ticket, right? Student ticket. Um, and then it's not. So this is the basic stuff, right? Um, this is the basic information. The additional advanced stuff, right, is here, right? So if you put the basic information in, and let me tell you, it's not going to have anything like a quantity labeled in there. It's just going to be empty, which says it's unlimited, which is why you, again, I said that you always see so many unlimited of these, but quantity available. Yeah, we have 100 of this option, right? So, um, thing that I was trying to um, say to Pack earlier this week was that to make sure that you set this right and you set the main ticket capacity type also you configure that correctly as well because if you have multiple options like multiple ticket options, right, you can have a quantity available of how many you want for that ticket option, but then you also have that global quantity capacity that is going to be for both or how many ticket options, right? So if you have ticket option A, B, and C, and the total amount, well, I'm just gonna put C D in ticket option D, right? And the main amount, right, it down here is let's just say the main amount down here was 200, right? Um, and I'm just gonna not leave that alone actually because that's not gonna even apply, but if this is A, and again, I'm just gonna make this very simple. B and C and B, right? And now I go back, so I'm gonna go back and actually fix all of these, right? But student A, now the quantity for student A though is only gonna be 50, right? That's where the thing is, it's good to make sure that you're explaining that, right? So then to talk about, well, how many can a student get at one time, right? For ticket A, when they're doing a transactional checkout like this, right? So you could have a minimum number if you wanted to, but the max per order, right? That's where we're talking, and that's where two you can say 2 tickets, right, or 3 tickets, how many you want, but it's only going to pop down the drop down of how many you select, right? And then you can actually start the date. You can start all these at different dates, which is super cool. But this date, you know, can have it whenever, right? So like if you're just not ready to sell it yet, I'm going to keep it empty because it doesn't apply for what I'm trying to show and explain, right? But and then you could also have the end date so as well. But um, and I'm going to zone all these out. Um, and there would be that, right? And I could say just what options, description, text box, and I we just thought this stuff just doesn't apply, so I would leave it alone, honestly. So as you can see, boom, popped up right there, right? So, um, so actually, actually the best could actually this is for students uh, that want a ticket, you know, copy. Um, and I'm gonna say like the biggest part about this is, right, like it it makes great sense, right, to have this up to do these things only if you have something that you know that the event is going to work for, right? So if you don't know it's going to work, if you don't know how you want your event configured yet, right? You're not these settings won't really feel like they apply or make any sense to you. So you have to feel like, oh, I know what I know how this is going to go down. I've talked with my student leadership, right? Like we've kind of come up with a game plan, and then yeah, then you've got something, right? So, but until then, this might make no sense because you'd be like, I don't have anything I can really fully use this for, right? Um, and so sometimes it's almost nice to just like take out a piece of paper, right? Or even a blank, Word document and just kind of construct the some of these particulars, these logistics, right? It's like, how is this gonna look, right? Like, what are we talking about? And um, like how gonna registration options gonna, and then that helps you actually know like to build it right, to build the way that you want it to look, right? So we have slowly, with the Wolfpack Welcome Orientation, we've slowly built that out when we created those events to make that look like something, right? So here now you can see we've got 50 tickets available, right, for each one of A, B, C, and D, right? So sweet, that's awesome, right? Um, and then you can say that the registration can be open. Let's see if I can just do something as easy as um, this 10-9. Yeah, that would be open now. Now, yep. Let's do. Well, it's gonna be happening tomorrow, so let's do 10-10 and do 25. And well, I'm going to set it to. But I always like setting it a little bit like 5 minutes over from when the thing starts, right? So 200, there we go. And we're going to see how that looks in a second. Looking forward to seeing you, um, you know, you in a few days, right? Again, preview it, right? There's what our ticket looks like, so, right? We look forward to seeing you in a few days, right? Here's a fun little fact, right? If you have any HTML experience, you can use HTML in here to actually to make it this better, right? So um, I believe is what an option. This is an option that um, uh, still works. Yep. We look forward to seeing you in a few days. So if you know it's a little bit of HTML, you can actually really spice up your ticket, make it look cool. But um, You in a few days. Right? That looks wickedly sick, right? Like, yeah, that looks great. Sweet. So, and then this is, yeah, you must pick up your, tickets, um, you know, at one, at one of the following times when you signed up and registered for this event. I'm just gonna put it like that, but essentially, it's the same thing. Just I'm being more vague with mine. Um, you know, I can everyone again. I don't have a cover, a ticket cover. I'm not gonna send a feedback request, right? But I could. And then this is information that we'll be gathering, right? Not all of this is going to be used or grabbed actually, but the ones show you picking up the tickets, right? And so the two values, right? List down right here, right? So if that was to get created, and so I could say date one, date two, and then I think this is what, oh wait, no. Uh, 3 and date 4, right? And so ordering, where do you want this to fall in the order? If you knew, you probably won't know this external ID, so I would just leave that alone. Um, yeah, because the answer ID is actually these things, so that's what it's basically asking. So there's a cool thing here to think about, right? So this thing, what this is doing is asking, and then it's asking how this was to be done, right? So, um, and so you can, so isn't this is nice. You can actually apply it to specifics, right? So what day are you picking up the tickets, right? Um, and you could say, uh, you could actually duplicate this, right? To duplicate it again, duplicate it again, even, right? So we're just gonna make it really wild, right? But um, I think it's for the um, for C, for D. Second. Oh, that's not what I want. What the heck did that do? Um, so A, B, C, and D. Now, isn't this isn't this kind of interestingly wicked? So only do this for only do it for A's, right? Like you get everyone's getting how I'm putting this down. B. So I don't know exactly. This is a fun little fact, right? Like I don't know exactly how this would be used in something for something yet, but obviously it could be used for something to. I mean, it would allow that specifics, right? Um, but when you create one of these questions, right? The title of the question, then here's the type of question. So it could be text is open source, text are free, like you type it, right? But check boxes, right? You check off on something or a radio button kind of a drop down menu, which this is what that it is going to be. A date. Now, so here's the thing. I might have chosen maybe, well, I think this one, in this instance, when it says date, it's just going to give you the map, the calendar, and you're picking a date. But if we want to tell them you have a date option, and you only have a few options of that to choose from, I guess the drop down would still make sense. Slots, and then I guess file upload. So maybe if you were doing something, maybe if it was for the job fair, right? And you were submitting to be a part of the job fair, it might ask you for your resume, right? That could be something. And so there's that. And so you know what I'm gonna actually do just as a timing thing, right? We're going to incorporate some of the other things I wanted to get in here, right? So speakers, we're gonna say so we're gonna throw it in. We're gonna say Selena Gomez is gonna be at this thing, right? So that we got to create that speaker, right? So we have to put that information in. So just so happens that we've got that information, right? So got Selena and and yep, I know that we don't have a lot of time supposedly, but I don't stop me. And you know, we delete that. Um, and then let's just go grab that photo that I put in there. Yeah, I mean, sure, you know, Selena Gomez picture. Remember, always get that alt text in there so the screen readers can read it, right? So the bio, right? With the thing that I had done that, dump that in there. And see, because this is all HTML based, it's going to copy everything and including the links, I believe. Yep, the links are still in there. Sweet. And yep, that's perfect. So now when and again if there wasn't more, any additional like let's just do say Selena Gomez at gmail.com. Do not go to this website at this email address, please. 608 555 5555. And so and then publish, right? So that's now going to show as an option. Now you have an option of a speaker to choose from, right? So if you had a big event, though, right, and you had multiple speakers, you had a keynote speaker, and then you had maybe some other speakers that for some of the breakouts, you would build up the speaker list basically, and then select them, and so then add to the event, and there we go, right? So we have Selena Gomez on there, right? So that's awesome. And let's just I think we could do this for yeah. Let's just play around with this even. Madison College is going to sponsor this. And I do not have a Madison College logo. You know what I'm going to say? Let's just do Aviation Club is going to sponsor us, and I have the Aviation Club logo, and that's going to probably get cropped like crazy. So let's just try to see if we can just get that in there. And Aviation Club logo. And logo size. Yeah. You know, silver level, right? And I'm just gonna go not play around, hit save. Yeah, so there we go. We have that. Again, as many sponsors on there as well. We do not need to, but let's just do this and redirect it, right? After you have, because what if you want, they sign up for a ticket and then there might be other things going on at Schuster's Farm. Well, we can add all that information in there. They can see that by, having it redirect them to there, right? So, and then we don't have any other events. Waiver, the one thing that they added was, so please don't, is that, you know, uh, waiver. Yep, there you go. So, you just agree to be following the student code of conduct, right? So you can make it mandatory so that they have to, when they're doing their thing, they actually have to sign off on it and check it. And you can even add it to the registration page if you had actually more text, but we don't have any of that. So, but yeah, the following student code. Uh, you follow the student code of conduct at um, you know, and there was that, and then you I'm gonna co-host this event though with another club of mine, um, which is going to be the general test group club, right? So I'm now going to link them in there, and now they're in. So it's the test group club mini edition, co-hosting it co-hosted with the test group club, right? And then that's it, right? So now we can create this event. Look at the event. Here we go. So we have 50 tickets, right? They started this early. This explains what that ticket is, right? Which is awesome. Um, and two options for per ticket, so you can get only two, right? Um, and that this is perfect, and we can click on register, right? And it should pop up. Oh, because I got two. Yep. So then which day are you picking up ticket A, right? So the second, it's supposed to, because of course it didn't save anything. It's supposed to pop up that last little thing saying, and then as you can see, it took you to she's just from. So it does work to some extent. But yes, so that is essentially in essence what it's doing. Um, I wish that it didn't glitch out, and I when I clicked off of the page and it redirected that it did that, but yeah, so we did meet a lot of the things that we were hoping to do, right? So we did go over the things like made an event with the speaker, we did it with the co-host, you know, we set up this whole thing, um, and we also did sponsor as well, and some of things that we can do. I mean, really, the weekly club meeting is going to be the same thing, to some extent, just on a smaller scale. But the big thing that I'll do at another time is the conference style, with leadership conference, kind of combining everything. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it for today. I appreciate you checking this out, and yeah, don't forget to fill out the required incentive stuff to get credit for this. All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day.